you're in the county jail. You're not leaving Hennepin County Jail unless, of course, you're wanted for like another crime in another state or something like that. But if you get a charge that's serious enough and you can't bail out in Hennepin County Jail or Ramsey County Jail, you're staying in Hennepin or Ramsey County Jail. It's literally almost impossible to break. You don't know anybody that's broken out of Hennepin, because there's so many doors and so much steel. You're not going to break out of Hennepin County Jail. And our guards are well paid. They're paid better than Louisiana. So you're not really going to get a lot of people that's going to sneak in phones and weapons and stuff like that. Now, Chauvin was the exception. Chauvin, they had the guards bring him in cell phones or wherever he was at. But I'm just saying, like, we'll get to that much later. But it's not like that down there. You giving these folks $13, $14, $15, $16 an hour. Now, the cost of living is different down there. But, yeah, they ain't getting paid nothing, and they're in extremely violent prisons. The hell they give a damn about the inmates? Oh, you want a cheeseburger? Okay, I got that. You want a kitchen knife? I got that. There's been guns that they found in New Orleans Parish Prison. You know what I'm saying? For real. Like, they don't give a damn. They're like, okay, I ain't getting paid nothing. If you were working, I want my listeners to understand something. If you were working in an environment like this, where inmates and guards getting shanked up left and right, and somebody told you, well, follow the rules, would you give a damn about the rules? If somebody said, well, hey, bring in a pack of cigarettes, that's a big thing. You could make $150 out of a box and you get paid $15. Hell yeah, you're going to snuggle that shit in. Yes, you will. People say what they won't do. Yes, you will. You are going to do it. You are going to make $1,000 a week. That's another thing people don't know about these COs. Yeah, they're making $16 an hour, but if they're smuggling stuff in, don't you know that some of these dudes make $100,000 a year off of smuggling? You got somebody to pay $30 for a Whopper, $200-300 for a knife, $400 for a cell phone. $30 for a Whopper. Yes, it happens, and I'm gonna play some commentary as to proof, because what I learned, and I want to give credit to New Jack, G Street. I learned a lot about these things when he was going through all the different places, gets exposing a lot of stuff with the. I didn't even know. I mean, we know that the guards and wardens and stuff are crooked in a lot of these correctional facilities, but we don't have proof. We don't have nobody that actually will tell the stories of what happened, because what they do in Louisiana. Another thing, if you start exposing stuff, they'll threaten you with probation violation. You got dudes that have been hurting there. You got dudes that have been violated. They don't want to tell. You know, the average man, he's not going to come home and say, well, yeah, I had 10, 15 dudes run up in me. He's not going to say that. He's just going to come home and get drunk and high to try to forget about it. You're not going to hear no grown man talking about, well, man, a bunch of grown men abused me and they were taking my snacks. He ain't going to say that. He's not. He's not going to say that. He's not going to admit to that. Nobody's going to admit to that. No dude is going to admit to that. So those stories don't get untold. Those stories don't get told. So now we got a source that appears to be very reliable. It matches up to all the federal cases I looked up. And so, you know, these guards, he said 3 years. Let's go back to this. I want to hear what he said about this 3 years.
Murder. His jury trial date is scheduled to begin September. Johnson has been sitting behind bars here in a meet for 3 years. He just met court May 5th for 7.
So he sat for 3 years until his court date came. Until, you know, for the charges. They might have came to him and said, hey, we got evidence for this. He was like, no, I'm going to trial. Because if you ain't in Louisiana, if you ain't got nobody that's going to testify, you might just get off. You know what I'm saying?
Serious pending charges, including murder. His jury trial date is scheduled to begin September 22nd, but Johnson's no longer in police custody to attend that trial date. Now, we're told he climbed the barbed wire fence while another inmate boosted him over the top.
Now, you know what's so gangster? What was so gangster to me, and one thing when you showed me that, when you sent me the video of him hoisting his homie up, I was thinking, well, damn, why did he try to escape? You know what I'm saying? But what was so funny about it, it was kind of like, yeah, nigga, I want you up out of here. You know? He was helping him, but he wasn't trying to escape. It was just him. You know what I'm saying? So that another thing I want listeners to understand, right or wrong, you may not agree with it. I don't want you to. He had some respect up in that motherfucker. He had some kind. Somebody had enough respect for that dude, and he might have been a factor in there a little bit. He didn't look like he was too big. He was smiling and grinning. He probably was smiling and grinning because he didn't give a damn. So maybe he was somebody in there that was putting in work.
He's escaped from that prison twice.
So he knows
what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing, and they're not doing anything to avoid it. And they keep talking as if they care. I'm not talking about the public. I'm not talking about the black folks. I'm not talking about folks like me and you. The DA don't give a damn.
Now you see that white sheriff that's the sheriff of that prison where that kid Trayvon escaped?
Yeah.
Yesterday, 2 days ago, he was talking shit about the other prison.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's why he looked like he just shit in his pants. He was talking a lot of shit about they don't know what they doing over there. You come down here to my county, ain't nobody leaving. Oh, he was talking good shit. Now look.
He might lose his job. Let me see what else they got to say.
It's gonna be like this. They're gonna hit the reset button on all that. You know what I mean? Everybody's gone.
Yes.
We're hitting the reset button.
No longer in police custody to attend that trial date. Now we're told he climbed the barbed wire fence while another inmate boosted.
Now the way they climbed the barbed wire fence, I found out New Jack was saying that what they do, how they climb the barbed wire fence, or they got razor wire, they'll climb it and they'll take their jacket or some clothes, and then they'll throw it over the fence. And then what they'll do is they'll scale the fence. That's how they do it.
Him over the top. Jerome McGee lives directly in front of the jail and installed a home security system after seeing inmates break out of this same jail time and time again.
I want to replay that for y'all a few times. Listen very carefully, my listeners. Listen very carefully.
Installed a home security system police custody to attend that trial date. Now we're told he climbed the barbed wire fence while another inmate boosted him over the top. Jerome McGee lives directly in front of the jail and installed a home security system. Jerome McGee lives directly in front of the jail and installed a home security system over the top. Jerome McGee lives directly in front of the jail and installed a home security system after seeing inmates break out of this same jail time and time again. Break out of this same jail time and time again. Break out of this same jail.
Did y'all hear that? I want my listeners to listen very carefully. This means, as what New Jack was saying, they wasn't lying. He said this happens all the time and they do not notify the public. That's proof. That's why I like that channel so damn much. He covered the facts even before this happened. He said this happens all the time, which means that this is willful negligence. These are people, I'm telling you, bro, wait till this comes out. These are folks that are getting money, kickbacks. Something's going on because you can't have anything this incompetent. This is a dude across the street that got his own, Jerome McGee. This dude didn't put up a camera, and he's looking at these niggas like, oh, there go another one. There go another, time and time again. When she said time and time again, you know what that means? That means a lot. That means a lot. That means this shit happens all the time. People constantly breaking out of this prison. And this dude up here, the sheriff up there running his mouth. They don't want you to know that because, see, if they're constantly breaking out, that means that you have a problem. That means that when you're saying, oh, it's low staffing, you're not paying people enough, you're not hiring people enough, you're getting kickbacks. The reason why they're not hiring, this is my prediction, I allege. They're not hiring enough people because you got prosecutors, judges, and wardens getting under the table money. Well, DP, you just putting on your tinfoil kufi. Let me show you this. Let me show you this. But let's play the rest.
Time and time again.
I was like, nah, this can't be happening again.
Oh, whoa. So they showed the brother right here.
This can't be happening again. I said, it's just going on. Not really haven't made a year yet. Around the same time, and we back to square one again.
And there are a lot of questions that have to be answered about this whole ordeal. Now, we will be...
I got to send you this video. You're going to like this. Anyway, so let me go to this. I want you to... Yeah. Let me go to this here. This is proof. This is further proof. Where is it? Oh, here we go. Right here.
Good evening. First on News 2 at 6 o'clock, a warden at Angola facing scrutiny tonight after he received a hefty contract to cut grass at Angola.
State laws in place to prevent this from happening.
Now, you're the warden. You getting a contract?
As Chris Nakamoto in the investigative unit found, the troubling situation for taxpayers took a lot of thought.
Michael, Sylvia, it is another case of the good old boy network alive and well in Louisiana. State ethics laws are in place to prohibit exactly what we are about to show you. But those in power found a clever workaround, and tonight legal experts say it reeks to high heaven. On the sprawling grounds of the state penitentiary at Angola, housing is offered for free to some employees there. It's a perk that not many working people get. Tonight, the WBRZ investigative unit uncovered, in addition to those perks, a company owned by two high-ranking Angola employees received a contract to cut grass at Angola.
We have
if you were to see this grass, bro, I mean, when you talking about 40 acres and a damn mule, nigga, when they say sprawling, they mean sprawling. Like, we're talking about a ton of land.
Law, pretty elaborate ethics law, designed to prevent nepotism and abuse of office and corruption. And this certainly looks corrupt. I mean, when state employees kind of get the advantage on all their competitors through these independent contracts, that's just not fair to their competitors. It just stinks. It just seems wrong.
We showed what we uncovered to LSU law professor Ken Levy.
A lot of people still got away with it.
LSU law professor. Now that we talked about LSU not too long ago.
Levy.
A lot of people still got away with it.
He believes what happened here is why Louisiana gets a bad reputation.
We have a reputation for corruption that goes way back. We should be doing everything we can to change our image, to play by the rules. And this is
the image. And here's the thing, and that's why I made this statement before. Convict leasing. This is white supremacy 101 on its finest. And some people say, well, that don't happen no more. You're looking at it. You literally have Louisiana State Penitentiary, 85% black residents or inmates. Majority of them doing life with no parole. You have the warden here with his own employee that has his own lawnmower cutting service, getting contracts. This is almost like Chicago, New York corruption. I mean, they just doing it right out in the open, like they just don't give a F at all. So now you ask me, well, DP, well, why don't the feds want to come in? No, they don't want the feds to come in. The feds gonna be asking about stuff like this, like, hey, wait a minute, you got an employee here that has his own landscaping company. You're supposed to be getting an outside company. He works at the prison. How could you be doing something like this? You see what I'm saying? So this is what I'm talking about with kickbacks.
seems just more of the same.
State ethics laws should prohibit situations like this. Section 1113 of the Code of Ethics states, no elected official or public employee shall bid on or enter into any contract, subcontract, or other transaction that is under the supervision or jurisdiction of the public servant's agency. The contract obtained by the WBRZ investigator.
They asked me those questions when I applied for IT jobs, bro. Do you hold public office? Do you know that's a federal crime for lying something like this? You supposed to be sitting in Big Sandy for this.
shows it was issued on August 22nd, 2022, and pays William Casey Rosso $1,200 per week to cut grass at Angola.
Whoa, this nigga getting $1,200 a week to cut grass in Angola, bro. I wasn't lying when I told you about the corruption. He's getting almost $6,000 a month on top of his salary.
The total amount of money he'll be paid, $28,800.
Employees here at the state penitentiary say this.
I don't think we need no more. Look, that's now look, that's Angola, the biggest prison in the United States. That's just Angola. We ain't talking about the other Louisiana prisons. We're not talking about that corruption. We haven't even gotten to that, bro. So now you see what I'm talking about when it comes to the corruption. Now let's go back to the plumber.
That Mr. Williams is absolutely innocent, that he was used as a tool by the escapees and is being used as a fall guy by Sheriff Hudson.
There's been accusations that he turned off the water, moved the toilet. What would you say to these accusations?
Well, first off, him turning off the water is not an accusation, it's a fact. We readily admit that. He is the jail plumber. There was an overflowing toilet in what he tells me was a handicap stall.
Now, see, I didn't know that there was an overflowing toilet. I didn't know that at that time.
Should not have been in use. Nevertheless, was open, and this toilet apparatus was clogged and spilling out into the floor. He was told by a deputy there was no work order. He asked, and the deputy convinced him that as he was there, could he just look at it? You
remember what I told you about the work order? Remember when New Jack was like, hey, they're supposed to have work orders. So if the deputy said, oh, ain't no work order, just fix it. There's supposed to be a work order.
Assess the situation.
The deputy could tell him I didn't say that.
Yeah, he could.
Shut
or the deputy could have never said that he won.
Role as jail plumber.
What has your client said about the threats that he may or may not have received from?
That is a complete mischaracterization by law enforcement. Mr. Williams had a passing exchange with one of the inmates wherein he was assessing the toilet, made the determination he needed to turn off the water. The inmate, as he was there, happened to say something about shanking him. He didn't take this as a threat. He wasn't acting out of fear. He was taking this as normal jailhouse banter. He reported it during his interview with law enforcement because it is a fact that happened.
Jailhouse banter. Now, I want y'all to understand that was hilarious. That was funny. Now, when they're saying jailhouse banter, yeah, people get shanked up in there, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, they might have said that to him and been like, hey, leave that off, bro, or we gonna shank you. And he might have been like, okay, well, shit, I ain't about to get shanked. I'm not about to get shanked for you Negroes that I think, because he probably thinking like maybe they getting ready to break out or whatever the case may be. But beyond the news, I want to go to the people in New Orleans. And this was posted by New Jack.
Dudes is play games and...
This is a sister that knows him.
All he does is play games and he is so, like, I'm not going to say he green, but he is. He's a school head. He graduated from Culver. He's not into.
He's like a nerd.
He's a nerd. So
let's keep it 100. He a nerd.
If anybody was to walk up to him and tell him they're gonna shank him, he would do whatever they tell him to do. He was not raised like that. Sterling Williams is a good child. What they're trying to do to him, you can see it all in his face. He never experienced jail before. He never experienced none of that. He is a good person. I don't know why they're trying to give him the charge. Y'all need to get the deputies that helped. Because the deputies helped. It was more than what they trying to put it on him because y'all see that he's green and he's going to take the charge. No, the devil is a lie. I know.
That makes sense. That's, I ain't trying to hear what these white folks saying. Y'all done had an incompetent system left and right. I took a look at the brother. He looks kind of confused, to be quite honest. He don't look like no criminal. He don't look like Massey and them. Like,
you better be able to prove that deputy told him to do that without a work order, and he's going to have to show a pattern. Hold on, he's going to have to show a pattern of doing maintenance work without a work order.
Well,
he's gonna have to show like, yeah, this is something I do a lot. Because what it looks like to me is that this is an inside job. You got to look, man. The person whose job it was to do a head count and didn't know that they were gone for 10 hours is also in on it. There's no way you're telling me that somebody is that fucking out of sync work-wise where they don't know that these motherfuckers is gone for 10 hours. Nobody said anything. Come on,
and
man.
That's the deputies. That's the deputies.
Somebody knew.
Whoever
does the head count, whoever's responsible for doing the head count, who's ever responsible for them being gone and not knowing for 10 hours, that person is in on it. There's no way.
That's not the plumber's fault. That's not the plumber's fault. That's 100% sheriff and deputy. And the reason why I say sheriff is those are your deputies. Check this out. And look at this dude. The dude that was so-called supposed to have shanked him. This right here, this kind of opens it up. And this is what Williams' lawyer needs to look at right here.
Law enforcement is playing a possibly dangerous game of cat and mouse with a man all too familiar with breaking the rules.
Antoine Massey, he's one of the 5 inmates still on the run after escaping the Orleans Parish Justice Center. And as Eleanor Tabone explains, this is not the first time he's escaped.
Last Friday, just after lunch, 6 inmates escaped from the city's juvenile jail called the Youth Study Center.
Before the Juvenile Justice Intervention Center became what it is today, it was the Youth Study Center. In 2007, Antoine Massey escaped from here. According to our partners at NOLA.com, police found Antoine Massey on the Interstate 10 service road in eastern New Orleans. At the time, Massey was being held on armed robbery and aggravated assault charges.
The bottom line is that every child that's detained in that facility poses a great and grave risk to public safety, and that's the reason they're detained there.
NOLA.com reported at the time the juveniles took advantage of a broken lock to get into a room that contained metal shackles, then used the heavy objects to break a window and escape. Fast forward to 2019. He escaped from Morehouse Detention Center, just outside of Monroe. He was caught the same day, but in Texas.
Now, listen to that. Monroe, that's in northern Louisiana. This dude did this back in 2007. That's far, far away from New Orleans. So let's just keep it in context.
I believe that Antoine Massey probably wasn't handled properly.
Then in 2023, Massey did it again.
In November of 2023, Antoine Massey was ordered into our ankle monitor program, and he
should have got up to 5 years for that. They should have sent him to Angola then, right?
Placed on ankle monitor, and 2 very short hours later, he cut his ankle monitor off.
Matt Dennis with Assured Supervision Accountability Program, or ASAP, an electronic monitoring company, says Massey was a red flag from the start.
The truth is, Antoine Massey didn't just escape my ankle monitor. We received him after escaping an ankle monitor. We were warned.
He says Massey's history of escapes should have been a warning that he must be taken seriously.
Do you see all these checkpoints that the Louisiana Correctional Facility and the criminal justice system is missing? This is not accidental, bro. This has nothing to do with the inmates. At this point, I'm ready to give some of the inmates a slight pass, and I got to look at the real problem. This is administration. This isn't an inmate problem. This has nothing to do with the inmates. This is a reactive problem. The inmates are going to do what they do. They're inmates. But you are supposed to fix this. You're supposed to be proactive and you're supposed to be reactive. You have been neither. This has absolutely nothing to do with the inmates. This is a systemic issue with the criminal justice system in Louisiana. And I believe race soldiers are looking past it because they're getting a bag.
If you're going to run a brick and mortar jail with 4 walls, I'm not sure that the first floor is where you should keep very dangerous people or people that know how to escape.
I'm getting another picture. I'm looking. This looks like a brand new building. This is a beautiful jail. I'm looking at the New Orleans jail right now, bro. I mean, it looks shiny. This shit look like Minneapolis. It's a brand new damn jail.
They're taking pictures. They know that.
How?
Before they take the pictures.
This is
right when they made it. They took the pictures.
Dude, I'm looking at the new.
You ain't gonna take no pictures. You're gonna take pictures of when it first opened.
Right, but this
They're not filming live pictures.
But my point is it's not that old. What are y'all doing? This ain't the building. This is a people problem. They got across the street of a man. If you were to listen, man, if you were to look at this building right now, and if you can see, this is a highway that these Negroes crossed. This is a highway, man. They crossed.
And they went for it.
They went for it.
Now, if they would have known, put it to you like this: if they would have known that they had 10 hours before anybody even knew they were gone, I'd have tiptoed across the street. If they had that knowledge, if I escaped from prison and I have the knowledge that I got 10 free hours, nigga, I'm gone. I'm going to fake them out. The first thing is I'm catching even if you ain't got an ID, I'm catching Greyhounds to one state, then going somewhere else on the train. I'm fucking with them.
Dude was in Texas. You heard Massey. Massey was in Texas. He made it to Texas. This was in 07.
Oh, he's in Texas?
No, this is the same. Yeah, the same dude, bro. The same dude that they were supposed to.
Massey with the tattoo on his face.
Yeah, did they get him? I think they got him.
No, they didn't get him. He's one of the 5 they didn't get.
Oh,
he's the one who
in Texas.
He's the one the plumber said that threatened him.
Right. And so that's what the plumber needs to lean on. He needs to say, "Hey, look, man, I'm a computer nerd. Hey, man, I got these gang banging ass niggas threatening me with big ass shanks." You know what I'm saying?
You heard the lawyer. The lawyer's saying that that's not even the main thing. The main thing is his boss told him to do it.
Well, hey, and you know what? I would lean. See, here's the nice thing. What's going on with and to be honest with you, I don't think he did it. I think the young he just looks like a brother that was doing his damn job. And he was dealing with a bunch of incompetent ass guards because, see, here's another thing. They're supposed to have work orders and they're supposed to be escorted with guards at all times. That did not happen. That's not a fault of the maintenance man. That's a fault of security protocol. The deputy is going to have to answer to that. And you know the sheriff is going to try to cover her ass. She don't got no room, bro. She can't explain this. You got 2 of the families left town. You got some of the lawyers that left town. You can't.
But they didn't even notify the family.
Of course,
the families, the lawyers, all that found out off of TV.
That's a damn
wrong.
shame. They should sue New Orleans for punitive damages. They should sue them.
Something has to happen.
They should sue them. Now
something has to happen.
Now Groves.
Maybe for emotional distress, they could.
Yeah, they can they can actually prove that because this is public.
Let something happen.
Oh man.
Let somebody get punched. Forget lo and behold killed. Let somebody even get punched.
Yeah.
Let them even show up at a witness's house.
Yeah. Put it like this: if Groves or Massey shows up at a witness house and grabs their nose or grabs their hair by their chin, you know what I'm saying? If they grab the hair on their chinny chin.
He said, if you see any of these 6 fugitives, do not confront them. Do not even make a scene and say, "Oh, there go the fugitives." Just calmly call 911 and state where you are and where they're at.
And what is 911 gonna do? That's a mess. Wow.
He said they're armed, and even if they're not armed, they're still dangerous. Because it's 6 now. It's the 5 from the one prison, and then the one kid from yesterday, Trayvon. So it's 6.
Well, Trayvon is an hour and a half away. He probably ain't got nothing to do with it. Trayvon's probably chilling somewhere.
No, he ain't got nothing to do with the 5. But you got to understand, the 10 that escaped, and then here's a whole another person that escaped yesterday from another prison.
Oh, so an increase of fear. Yeah, people are just kind of like, okay.
Not only does it increase the fear, he was just basically saying he didn't want anybody doing any citizens arrest.
Yeah, ain't nobody gonna do no citizens arrest. That ain't gonna happen.
Well, you never know. You might see 1 or 2 race soldiers and might think they, fuck this shit.
Oh, yeah, they gonna get hurt. Yeah, if they try to pull that on, they gonna get hurt.
The sheriff made it very clear, do not do that. We are not asking you to do that. These are highly, highly dangerous. And he said, Even if they're not armed, they're still dangerous. Don't do that. Do not confront. Do not approach. Is what exactly what he said. Do not approach.
Well, one thing I wanted to say too is Groves. The dude Groves has been said I think he got convicted on a double murder. And then they say he had some more murders or something like that. But the word on the street in New Orleans is he had 13 or 15 bodies or something like that. What happened with him when he was a kid?
He shouldn't be out in the street. He should be in heavy maximum security prison.
Well, the thing is they should have already sent him to Angola. Remember, I told you when you get a life sentence, man, you're supposed to go to Angola. If you get 60 to 70 years, see, and that's another thing in comparison. You know how like you got pedophiles up here, they could touch on kids, or you get a nigga to shoot somebody and maybe he'll plead for 15, 20 years. Not down there. You getting time. Yeah, you touch a child, you getting 50 years. You kill somebody in cold blood, you getting life. You going to Angola. You going to Angola, and I want the listeners to understand on what is going to be your first day when you go to Angola. So I'm gonna play that for you in a minute. But before we go to that, Groves' grandmother was killed, so he grew up seeing that. He wasn't born yet, but there was 2 race soldiers that were crooked cops in New Orleans that killed his grandmother. I think she was like 30-something years old at the time, and they executed her. Joe Biden's racist ass just pardoned them. They should have fried that cop for that. But Joe just pardoned him. I don't know why the hell he did that. But I'm just letting my listeners know. That's a fact. You could pull that up. Don't believe Bagland. Don't believe DP. Don't believe Solomon. Pull that up. Joe Biden had pardoned that cop that executed that black woman in cold blood. It's 2 cops. One of them conspired the murder, and the other one blew her away on her doorstep, I believe it was. So that was the thing. I think it happened in 92 or 1994. Interesting, around the 94 crime bill. Damn. Wow. Jeez, that made my hair stand up. I don't know about yours. That's crazy. That happened around the 94 crime bill when it was architected. That's very interesting. So now, he grew up. I'm not sure what happened. They don't have a lot of details, but his aunt, I believe, raised him. And his aunt is basically telling him to turn himself in. I mean, at this point, there's not a lot you could do outside of those walls. You know, you got a double life sentence, and what's crazy is he shot 2 people with an AK-47, they said, in Mardi Gras. Now, that's a serious weapon. So the dude must got some good aim. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of a Mardi Gras. You ain't hit nobody else. He got his target. He was hunting. He had specific 2 people that he was trying to knock down. So he knocked down some people in Mardi Gras. Word on the street is he allegedly would take hits. So if you want somebody gone, he's the guy to do the job. You know, so, and they say in the lower 9th ward, he wasn't to be played with. He was well respected, well feared. They said he'd hop out of dumpsters and get at you and flatline you. And, you know what I'm saying? Remember dead presidents when he hopped out them dumpsters? He'd hop out of dumpsters on you. You know what I'm saying? If you kind of look at him and be like, he don't really look like the type of dude that would do nothing like that. Like when you look at him, he just don't seem like the type of guy. You know what I'm saying? But you can't underestimate people, man. You know, so Groves is the most dangerous. And if he got that under his belt, you know he done already unalive people. He ain't got no problem with knocking your head off. So that's his thing. If he gotta take you off the planet, he gonna do it. So
they need to get him behind bars. Quick.
Yeah, we have. Now I don't think he knocked nobody off right now. I don't know if it's people that just oppose him, but I mean he could have done it.
3 of them were walking around downtown 2 days ago.
Yeah, Groves ain't gonna do that. He's a little smarter than
what
that.
Were they, what were those three you think doing downtown?
They were walking around downtown the day after they escaped?
No, 2 days ago.
2 days ago. So the escape was, when was the escape? 2 weeks ago?
Last Friday. No, last Friday. So a week ago today.
So they were walking around downtown just
2 days ago, yeah.
2 days ago. That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they know
Just
for a fact
walking
it's
around.
them. Because you know the AI
Yep.
can, okay.
Three of the five.
3 of the 5. I guess they just don't give a damn. I'm gonna be honest. I think they're just kind of like, hey, this system ain't gonna hold me. It's janky. The sheriff's janky. Maybe it's just a middle finger. I don't know. But usually when people do stuff like that, they don't give a damn. And maybe here's another thing I want people to know. The way, see this. The thing is they're making it about the inmates, and yes, this is about inmates, but this is a much bigger issue. This is their system.
I just sent you the clip of the three walking around downtown.
All right,
from 2 days ago.
All right, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna send this to myself, and we're gonna play it. Let me play it. All right, let's see. Hold on. Then we're going to go to the next couple subjects.
Could Eritrea's dictatorship be coming to an end? For over 30 years, the state of
Wait a minute. This is something with Eritrea. All right, hold on. Hold on. Let's see here.
And just moments ago, we learned about another arrest of an accomplice. We'll have more of that tonight at 10.
Oh,
Meanwhile,
wow.
more
Easy on the eyes.
than 100 law enforcement officers are searching for the 5 inmates that are still on the run and now a week out from the jailbreak. Eleanor Tabone did some digging and she shares more on what we learned about these men.
Oh, I remember him from a baby.
Like any other child, Derek Groves was an innocent, wide-eyed kid with the world ahead of him.
He was friends with my son. He taught my son how to ride a bike.
But somewhere along the way, that innocence turned to blood. He's accused in 4 killings and convicted on 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of manslaughter. Gail Slack says she helped raise the 27-year-old on Alabo Street in the lower 9th Ward.
I just hope that if they catch him, they don't hurt him.
Groves and 4 others are still on the run after breaking out of the Orleans Parish Jail. Orleans Parish District Attorney Jason Williams is scared. He says not of what Groves did, but of what he might do next.
2 of the lawyers who I tried that case with, who successfully went forward, able to get a conviction on that case. These lawyers got out of town this weekend with their families.
Oh no, I'm looking a little deeper at his eyes. Oh yeah, you know he ain't playing. They're dark. Yeah, well you asked, well why were they there? I mean, you committed some murders, bro. So you don't really give a damn. I mean, you ain't scared of nothing. What are you scared of?
It's that last clip. Do you see it? The one that's like 59 seconds?
Hold on, let me see.
Massey has been escaping for years, dating back who allegedly threatened to shank him if he refused, though Williams' attorney denies that account. Matt Dennis with Assured Supervision Accountability Program, the oldest of the group, 42-year-old Jermaine Donald, is awaiting trial for a second-degree murder charge.
I asked LSP if the search for the inmates is limited to Louisiana or it's nationwide. They could not confirm whether the search has moved beyond the state, but they did say they're working with all local, state and federal partners.
Okay, so what they mean by that is They ain't got jurisdiction. They're just working with other people, and if they pop up, they pop up. All right, you said that you sent me another one. New footage. Okay. Yeah, they just walking around. They don't, you got to keep in mind, man, some of these dudes have been convicted. They're on borrowed time. They're not really tripping. They going to have some problems with Macedo and Groves. They're used to breaking out. So they got 5 other people.
Right downtown, are they looking for trouble?
No.
Or are they just having a good time?
No, they just walking around. They trying to probably see if they could maybe. They probably were, because if they were the French Quarters in the jail, it's a couple miles away. So maybe they figured if we just get away from the French Quarters, because remember, they had time to get away because the guards and everybody in the sheriff was dicking off. So they had time to kind of walk around and get places.
I don't think they knew that.
They probably called their
if
people.
If they'd have known they was getting home, nigga, that's a whole nother script. Now I'm gone. I'm not even in the state of Louisiana.
Well, one thing is you got to keep in mind, according to them women that gets arrested, they finally decided to look over the audio and they actually decided to do some damn police work for a change. This was planned. They had contact. Some of these women had contact with these inmates. For all we know, these dudes might have sat down together and said, hey, man, let's get out of here. They getting ready to ship us somewhere. I'm not about to go down to this.
They were going to Angola. Well, they flooded the prison the night before.
That was the plan then.
That was the plan. They flooded the prison.
Think about it. You going to Angola. What would keep you from not flooding somewhere and getting, well, you're going to get another 5 years. You're going to Angola. What difference does it make? Be honest, bro. If you know you're going to Angola and the judge says, well, Solomon, I'm going to give you another 2 to 5 years. You don't give a damn. You ain't never coming home anyway.
They might not never test them guys, man.
It's possible. It's possible. I don't know where they're going to go. It's not like they could change their name and stuff, but they'll probably go to like Chicago or, I don't know if they'll go to Chicago, but maybe. They might go somewhere. Like one guy ended up in Texas. They're at this point, they're relying, because we haven't heard of anybody that we know of. We haven't heard of anybody that has been unalived. But then again, these guys might, out of desperation, they might break in a house, home invasion. Hey, let me get some bread. You know what I'm saying? Take me to your safe, something like that. That's probably, I'll say, worst case scenario. If not, well, I got family members just looking out. You see what I'm saying? To a certain degree, but they're gonna stop doing that after a while because they don't want to get an accessory. And then not only that, people get tired of helping your ass. They get tired.
And the police is showing up at any immediate family member's house. They randomly popping up. Keeping squad cars outside. Yeah, all their mama's houses. There's a squad car outside of all of that.
Oh, they're probably looking at some of the places. But again, we got to keep in mind how sloppy Louisiana is. The squad car might post up after a while for a certain amount of time. They'll be like, okay, these Negroes ain't gonna be around. They might just leave. They're not gonna tell the public that. You heard what the sister said right there. She said this is a distrust in public. Everybody's looking at Louisiana, but they're not surprised, is what I'm telling you. Me and you, we're just berserker. We just don't know what to think. We're like, wow, this is actually happening. This is normal. This is how they get down. They've been getting down like this for forever. Me and you are in Minnesota.
Not 11 inmates, though. That's
not 11, but maybe not at one time. But man, shit, like you got the other dude. He escaped twice.
That's got to be an American record.
Well, in Louisiana at one time. At one time.
What state? Has New York ever had that? 11 inmates escaped federal prison in 1 week?
Maybe so, because New York's way bigger. So yeah, you've had riots and stuff like that where people escaped. Now they may not have stayed long, but you remember those people. It was 2 dudes that escaped Angola. They found them in hours. Where you gonna go?
Well,
you ain't going nowhere. First of all, you get out of Angola. You seen that video I sent you. You get out of Angola, you got nothing but just land. You ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, where you? Unless you must have not known that.
Or a guard. You know, maybe a guard or somebody you could have had on the outside. That's the only way.
Yeah, but that's even.
Yeah, you ain't getting
from the risk of life doing that.
No, because what they'll do if a guard if a guard pulls that off, if you got a guard pulling off an escape, helping an inmate, they might just throw him in Angola. You got to keep you got to keep in mind we're not going by our tongue-in-cheek law and order rules in Minnesota. You see, there probably wasn't a big procedure. It wasn't probably let's talk to Grove's lawyer, or let's talk to Gary Price's lawyer and Boyd's lawyer and Moody's lawyer and Dennis and Miles. Let's talk to their lawyer. No, the governor said, hey, when you capture them Negroes, ship they black ass to Angola. And there was a helicopter ready. Soon as they got Price and they muffed him, they brought him straight to the airport and put him in a helicopter. Before that, they probably kicked his ass maybe a little bit and probably said, look here, what do you know? You're going to tell us. And he told what he told. They told for sure. You gonna tell.
Not only that, we still going to beat you up.
We still going to beat you up. You going to tell us everything you need to know.
Just because right in front of the camera, they already muffed him and said, get in the car. So you already know they put hands on him. And then you could see the plumber. If you look at his eyes, he got touched.
Now, I looked at the plumber again. I did see that. It looked like that didn't really look like injuries. They're going to handle him a little bit different because here's what they know. But they're not going to tell you and me that. The administration, they know that the deputies weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. So you kind of put the maintenance man in danger. That's the next thing that's probably going to happen is a lawsuit. I'm telling you, these sheriffs and these deputies, they're done, bro. They're not going to get around this.
Look, the plumber is going to have to prove this shit. You can't just wait. Right now, it looks like he helped them motherfuckers get out of prison. He's going to have to prove that he didn't. Because that's what they're going to charge him with.
Well, here's the thing. Massey, he can say Massey did it. He can say Massey did it. The burden of proof is on them too because he can say Massey did it. He can say, hey, this nigga that got escaped a bunch of times. He said he was going to shank me. That's what I would say. He was going to shank me. This nigga's in jail for murder. I keep saying it, man.
At first, he said Massey threatened me.
I was afraid.
Now he told the plumber, I'm going to stab you if you don't cut off the water and then make a hole right here.
Well, they don't have to necessarily make a hole. Just cut the water off. The inmates did all of that. What they're not telling you is the inmates can figure that out themselves. They don't need a bunch of tools for that.
So they told him cut off the water.
Cut off the water. Yeah, just cut the water off. That's all we need.
Like something that seemed common, like that can happen.
Hell yeah, man. Listen, man. See, we going to go to some of this New Jack commentary. If you really
would Massey really act upon that though if the plumber didn't turn the water off?
Hell yeah. Or Groves, all them dudes. You got to think. You got 10 dudes. You got 10, 15 dudes standing around. Hey man, cut that shit off. Well, you know my boss man, cut that shit off, bro. Cut that off, or we gonna shake you.
So the inmates that escaped that are currently out, if they turn themselves in, can just be a wash?
Oh no, you getting 5. You going to Angola number
5
1.
extra years?
Hey, let me tell you what's gonna happen, and then I want to play something. It's gonna take a while for us to go through. But we're gonna stop it and go front to back of what is going to happen to you when you get to Angola. Number 1, when you get caught, you getting your ass whooped. That's the first thing. You get your ass whooped. Now, if you turn yourself in, that's the glory for the governor. Oh, good police work. This, that, and the third. And they probably didn't do shit. You turn yourself in. So they're not going to turn themselves in. But if they do decide to turn themselves in, which I don't think they will, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to say, all right, well, yeah, you guys, you turned yourself in. I just couldn't see it because they got so much time coming, bro. Some of these dudes are on trial. Now, you know what they're going to do with the dudes that's on trial.
There's really no benefit for them to turn themselves in.
No, there's no. Okay, it's the same thing. It's common. Okay, it's like this. It's no different. I'll make this analogy to my listeners. You're working somewhere at a company, and the company is offering you $20 an hour, and you're working remote from home, and you're not gonna never get a raise, and you're working remote from home. But then you get another company that wants to hire you for $20 an hour, but you got to drive all the way downtown doing the same damn job. You ain't never gonna get a raise. What's the purpose of you coming downtown? Paying for $13 an hour parking, paying for a $10 lunch, and you're an hour in traffic on the way and an hour in traffic and back. What's the purpose? Look at it like that. It's like that. These dudes, see, the dudes that are convicted, they were supposed to go to Angola anyway. So all they're really doing is they're just evading the process temporarily. Now, remember, the governor said he wanted an audit of the jail, and he wanted to look at some of the judges, because some of these judges, he felt like they've been getting cut too much slack. They've been doing what they call judge trials. Now, I want people to know what a judge trial is. What is a judge trial? The judge makes a decision. Mr. Solomon, you've been a good citizen. You ain't been in public beating off in front of people. You've been paying taxes, blah, 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 whatever. I'll give you 6 months in ankle monitor. Okay, Jerome, you've been smacking women on the butts. You've been having freak offs. You've been having freak offs. You ain't been paying taxes. You broke out of prison. I'm going to give you 15, 20 years. Let you shape up. Let you figure yourself out. Let you understand life. That's a judge trial. The governor feels like the judges have been giving sweet deals and been acquitting people. Some of the judges probably look at the evidence and be like, hey, man, I ain't about to throw this nigga in prison. The governor's like, oh, no. He needs time. You know, we have a kickback system down here. He's supposed to be in jail in Angola. You see what I'm saying? So he's going to start looking at some of these judges and firing them. Jerome got 5 years. But I think he should have 25. He's black, he's poor, he committed this crime, he ain't got no lawyer. Send that nigga to Angola. So they gonna start getting rid of some of them judges. It's like, wait a minute, man. This brother was walking to his McDonald's job, minding his own business. He should have never been arrested in the first place. Dismissed. Acquitted. That's what some of the judges, he's saying that they've been doing stuff like that to a certain degree. Now, I want my listeners to know, and you probably don't know, the Republicans down and the Democrats, they into it too. But anyway, I'm just going to stick to the facts. The Republicans are now, I think they just passed this bill where no parole. That's another reason why they probably left. Oh shit, there ain't no parole. They're trying to abolish parole. You get 20 years. Okay, you do 20. You know, you got, oh, well, I got good time. You do 20. You ain't getting out. That's the Louisiana system that we're dealing with right now. So they're like, okay, well, hell, shit, I ain't gonna never get parole. Tell I want to go to Angola for it. So we got to look at it from the inmate standpoint too, because you're dealing with a plantation system. I'm not talking about their crimes. Okay, you raped a little girl. Yeah, you need to go to Angola. But we're dealing with such a corrupt system, we don't know if you did it in the first place. Now, with this Groves dude, he has a history. You see what I'm saying? So he's been convicted of the double murders and whatever. And like I say, according to the streets, allegedly, he's a hitter. So I don't think there's not a doubt. I'm just looking at his mugshot. He looked like he done knocked some folks off. That's just me. That's me personally. There's no remorse in his face. He's like, yeah, nigga, I did it. I flatlined them niggas and they deserved it. That's the vibe I'm getting from his mugshot. When I look at Gary Price, I could tell he's like, okay, damn, why did I do this? Anton Massey looks high. Corey Boyd just looks like whatever. Leo Tate, he's still at large. He looks like, damn, I'm going to Angola. I hope not. Linton Van Buren, he just looks kind of neutral. You could always tell the dudes that look either like, yeah, I did it, versus the dudes like, oh shit, I shouldn't have did that. And then the other dudes that just look high. You know what I'm saying? You can look at them mugshots where they're like, okay, I'm high. You know, so just to give my listeners just an idea, I mean, they might get these dudes. Groves is probably going to be the last one. Groves looks like he done committed some homicides. He knows how to move and shake. He's not worried. You can look at his face and you can see a killer in his eyes. He's not worried. Now, will he transfer that same energy to Angola? I don't know. You see what I'm saying? But he don't look. He don't have the look as somebody that's kind of like, well, damn, man, I shouldn't have did this, or man, I'm afraid. He don't have that. So, I want to play some commentary, and you could ask me about this as we go along, and then what we'll do is, because you still there? Hello? Hello, you still there? You sound far away.
Hello, can you hear me?
It sounds much better now. I don't know what you did, but it sounds much better now.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
yeah.
agree with you, man.
So what we're gonna do is, this is one of my favorite channels I talked about. That's how I learned about the corruption in Louisiana. Season 2 of the New Jack Crew, G Street News Network. We're gonna play this. This is a 20-minute clip. We probably won't play the whole thing, but we'll go piece by piece, and then we'll go into a couple other subjects. We'll go into Diddy. We'll go into the Diddy trial because I want to talk about that them forensic tools, and we could go by that. But what we'll do, and then we'll talk about the streaming and the publishing stuff if we got time. I think we'll be able to knock it out. So this is season 2 of episode 1. Now, just to give some of the listeners of the background, there's going to be some things that I play. There's some stuff on here. It's funny, but it's not meant to be funny. I just want folks to know, like, some of the stuff is funny as hell, but it's not funny. It's like not meant to be funny, because we're talking about stories about folks' lives and what's happening in these correctional facilities and what black folks are going through, whether they're innocent or guilty. You know what I'm saying? So this is G Street talking about the New Jack Crew. Now, if y'all never heard about it, y'all should check it out, man. It's the first time I heard it, I can't remember how I went about listening to it. I think I guess clicked on it. And I think season 1, the first episode, it was hard to watch. I had to kind of take a break because I'm not used to hearing things like this to this degree. But at the same time, if this man can go through this, I think it's something that we could go through, because we weren't there. But it's very, very brutal. in them Louisiana systems. It's extremely brutal. It's so brutal to the fact where you're just like, you're thinking like, okay, a human being can't sustain this. I don't believe this happened. It almost feels like that. And basically what the premise was is this brother did time in these Louisiana prisons, and he's trying to save the youth. He's like, hey, I don't want young kids to be involved in this. So he talks about, he told these stories, from my understanding, to different community centers and different kids, and people were just listening to stories. And some of his homies were like, hey man, you need to put this on the internet. And he's a real good storyteller. He didn't really want to put it on the internet at first, but he was like, okay, if I could reach more people and save people from going through this bullshit and exposing the corruption in the Louisiana prison system, and I'm gonna do it. And he did it. The New Jack Crew, they call it. The New Jack Crew is basically some dudes that was in jail that ain't in any of the activities. Now, the term they use for activities, what that means is messing with boys. Now, what that means is you ain't dealing with no funny shit. That's what that means. You ain't borrowing, you ain't using no drugs, because if you borrow, you don't ever want to borrow when you go do time. Ain't nobody giving you nothing for free. So they came up with a crew because it was innocent dudes. It was just dudes in there just getting preyed upon. And they had all these predators that was just going around just violating dudes. And so a couple guys got together and said, okay, I don't want this to happen to me, and I don't want this to happen to other inmates. This is getting ridiculous. So they came up with a crew, and they were in a prison. Now, he hasn't revealed what prisons they are. They will, I think he's going to notify people of every single one at some point in time. I've kind of pinpointed to what I think they are. But we do know that some of them, one of them was Angola at one point in time. Now, Angola is different than the Angola back in the day. But what I want to do is I want to play this for y'all. And me and Solomon are going to kind of break through, and he's going to have questions as to the commentary.
Now, coming back off the last episode, Buttman, he ended up surviving, but his lungs had got punctured.
Now, with that right there, Buttman was a predator. He was going around, violating a bunch of different inmates. Everybody in the prison was afraid of him. And eventually, they got to a point where they caught Buttman in the bathroom, and they